Considering we don't have that much sunlight either. What a struggle this is. What a struggle.
And you know what? She was saying China, Japan, anyway, they're not even using, they've gotten rid of all their solar. And they're using...
You know those blow-up things that move?
Yeah.
They have something similar to it. It's straight up. And it moves. Not like those do.
Mm-hmm.
It moves. But what I saw at Ohio, how they gave the farmers hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, one thing was another solar company bought it.
Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome all.
They don't have to honor the contract they signed.
We have
They can't farm on it, even
a
if
meeting
it's farm
tonight
on it.
that we hope will not go too long. The topic that we will be discussing as a board, and we have a couple guest speakers, is the solar facilities and the incorporation question as a rural district. So I'm hoping that we could get through some of these other items quickly, because in a perfect world, what we hope is that when we get to this item for the solar facilities and incorporated rural district, that we have two special guests that will take about 15 minutes to present, and then we will have 15 minutes of the board asking questions to the guests, some of which are questions that residents have already brought to our attention. And then the final 15 minutes will be the residents. I would ask that you, when we get to that point, you raise your hand, you come up and you ask a question concerning that topic as well. So with that, that's going to take about 45 minutes just for that topic. So with that, I'd like to call this meeting to order, please, if we would stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have with us today Pastor Dave from the Family of Faith Church. Pastor Dave is a resident of Green Garden Township, and we have asked him if he could lead us in an opening prayer.
Okay. Thank you, Dean. It's going to be St. Patrick's Day next week, so I want to pray a prayer of St. Patrick today, and also begin just by praying for this meeting. We do thank you, Father, for those who serve our township and for all who are attending this meeting, and we pray for your wisdom to guide everyone, and that the decisions made will be pleasing to you and good for the residents here, and that you will guide the discussions by your attitude and by your wisdom. And we pray, Lord, with the prayer of St. Patrick, I rise today through a mighty power, invoking the Trinity, believing in threeness, confessing the oneness of creation's creator. I rise today in the power of Christ's birth and baptism, in the power of his crucifixion and burial, in the power of his rising and ascending, in the power of his descending and judging. I rise today in the power of the love of cherubim, in the obedience of angels. I rise today in heaven's might, in sun's brightness, in moon's radiance, in fire's glory, in lightning's quickness, in wind's swiftness, in sea's depth, in earth's stability, in rock's firmness. I rise today with the power of God to pilot me, God's strength to sustain me, God's wisdom to guide me, God's eye to look ahead for me, God's ear to hear me, God's word to speak for me, God's hand to protect me, God's way before me, God's shield to defend me, God's host to deliver me. May Christ protect me today. Christ with me, Christ before me, Christ behind me, Christ within me, Christ beneath me, Christ above me, Christ to the right of me, Christ to the left of me, Christ in my lying down, Christ in my sitting, Christ in my rising, Christ in the heart of all who think of me, Christ on the tongue of all who speak to me, Christ in the eye of all who see me, Christ in the ear of all who hear me. I rise today through a mighty power, invoking the Trinity, believing in threeness, confessing the oneness of creation's creator. For to the Lord belongs salvation, and to Christ belongs salvation. May your salvation, Lord, be with us always. Amen.
Amen. I'd like to ask the clerk to roll call the names of our elected officials, please.
Supervisor Christopoulos,
Present.
Trustee Dietz,
Here.
Trustee Olszewski, here. Trustee Shepherd,
Here.
Trustee Skirdo, Assessor Basham, Road Commissioner Hilliard,
Here.
Collector Michael Flanagan,
Here.
Clerk Kraft, present.
Okay, the first order of business on our agenda is a motion to approve the minutes from February 9th, 2026 board meeting as submitted. Do we have a motion? Motion by Trustee West.
I'll second.
Second by Ralph Dietz. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion as stated has been carried. The next item on our agenda is a motion to approve the Township financial report as submitted. We have a motion by one of the board members.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Trustee Ralph. Do we have a second? Second by Trustee West. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion as stated has been carried. The next item for consideration on our agenda is unfinished business or old business. And we only have one item under old business, and that is the Town Hall renovation project update. I would ask Trustee Belinda if you could give us an update on the Town Hall renovation project.
Okay, we had several people, 8 people who picked up packets for bidding. They will be returning them on the 18th at 2 p.m. here at the building. And then they will be open, it will be the bids and bid opening. And then we're hoping to have anticipated award night on March 25th. Basically, we are waiting for that to continue. Thank you.
Thank you. And then, Belinda, what's the date that we have to complete the project?
It was October 31st. So we want to complete it by October 31st because we have to get all the invoices into Will County to get reimbursed. As of today, there has been no reimbursements. Thank you.
If I could just add something to that quickly, was people have asked me about why did we choose to go the renovation route instead of the new town hall route? And the short answer to it is that the county gave us a deadline of December 31st to start the grant money. Then it was changed to October 31st. Then it was changed to July 31st. We turned back the grant and said we don't have time to do that. By the time they gave the grant back to us, they did change the date back to October 31st, but we just felt that the new town hall wasn't a realistic goal to achieve. And we were concerned that the grant money would no longer be available to us and we would have the burden of the entire cost. So that is the reason that we decided as a board not to go with the new town hall. In saying that, all the work that was done on that is not in vain. It is work that we could use at a later date, and we'll see when we decide to move forward and think more about that. We want to get through this project first, and then with the solar and everything else going on, we have a lot to look at. Okay, so the next item for consideration is under new business. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 items under new business for this evening. The first item under new business is a motion to approve the April 8th, 2026 annual meeting agenda. Before we open it up for discussion, I ask Trustee West, if you could please read the annual meeting agenda that we're going to be voting on here.
So there's 10 items. The first one is call to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. Number 2 is selection of moderator. Number 3 is the oath of moderator. Number 4 is reading and approval of 2025 annual township meeting minutes. Number 5 is town hall renovation update with Belinda. Number 6 is solar update with Tom Becker. Number 7 is public comment. Number 8 is clerk presentment of township annual financial statement. Number 9 is next annual town meeting, Tuesday, April 13th, 2027. 10 is adjournment.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion by the board regarding that? Yes, Linda?
My question is, why do we have number 5 and 6 on the annual township meeting when we update the residents every month when we come here?
That's a good question. I think it was put on there because there may be some that come to the annual meeting that do not come to this meeting. And you're correct. I think it's the week before is our meeting, or a week after. But it would be a very quick update. It's not going to be elongated. Just trying to keep people informed. That's why it's on there.
It's gonna be the day before.
Okay. Any other discussion from the board? Is there a comment by the public regarding this motion? Okay, if there's no other discussion, we will look to have a motion to approve the April 8th, 2026 annual meeting agenda as written. We have a motion.
Make the motion.
Motion by trustee Ralph. Do we have a second? Second by Belinda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. This motion is stated as carried. The next item for consideration is a motion to approve resolution number 2026-003 regarding the transfer of appropriation in the town fund. I'll take just a moment to explain what this is. We've done this in the past. This is the legal way for us to transfer out line items that have not been expended into line items that have been expended that have a negative balance to them. We're responsible to keep all these numbers in the positive at the end of the fiscal year. And so what's very important to know is that the total budget of Green Garden Township is not affected by this. It's just a matter of changing the line items in order to do that. It's a very common thing to do. So the purpose is that certain adjustments between the appropriated line items in the town fund, the said ordinance, are desirable and necessary, whereas Section 3 of the Illinois Municipal Budget Law as amended authorizes transfers between various line items within any fund, in this case it's the town fund, in such appropriation ordinance not to exceed 10% of the total amount appropriated in such fund by said ordinance. Section 2 says there is hereby transferred from the unexpended balance of the sum of $34,500 from the following line items in the town fund. Each of the board members, you have this in front of you, and the line items that we're proposing to transfer out is in the flooding issues line item of $32,500. The assessor's mileage travel, transfer out $1,000. The assessor's staff line item, $1,000 transferred out. And we want to transfer in liability insurance, $1,000. Legal services, $15,000. Office commodities, $500. Utilities, $500. Payroll and accounting, $10,500. IT license and support, 2,000, IT hardware, 2,000, publishing, 1,000, assessor line item office field supplies, 1,000, assessor training, continuing education, 1,000. Is there discussion by the board concerning this resolution? No? Okay, very good. Is there any comment by the public concerning this resolution? Okay, very well. If there's no further discussion, is the board ready to vote on this motion? All good? Okay, so motion to, do we have a motion to approve number 2026-003 regarding the transfer appropriation in the town fund? Motion by trustee West, do we have a second? Second by Belinda. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any, let's roll call, okay, yeah, very good.
Trustee Shepherd,
Yes.
trustee Olszewski,
Yes.
trustee Dietz,
Yes.
supervisor Christopoulos.
Yes. Okay, motion as presented has been carried. The next item on our agenda is a resolution number 2026-004 regarding submitting an advisory public question to the electors of Green Garden Township. Do you think the state of Illinois should have a voter ID law? Before we open this for discussion, I want to ask Belinda if you could kind of summarize what this is and what it's for and who it goes to.
This is just an advisory question. It would appear on the ballot if you think that there should be state, Illinois should have a voter ID where you have to bring identifications to vote. And it's not binding, and the effective date would, be the date that, it's passed, so, by vote. Thank you.
Okay, very good, thank you. Any discussion by the board concerning this motion or this topic?
Would this just be an R precinct?
That we're just passing it in Green Garden.
Okay.
Is the,
I'm sure there's other towns that are doing it too, but I only know this.
Okay. I just didn't know if it was all of
okay, very good. Is there any discussion or comment from the public concerning
What
this?
election is this from? For?
It would be for the March, 17th, thank you.
That will be on the ballot?
Yeah.
It could be on the ballot.
It could be.
That's, isn't that Parker's the one?
We would go to the clerk's office
clerk's
and then
office.
she would process
Well, if you vote for it, why would it not be on the ballot?
it. It's up to, once we present it to the clerk's office, she puts it in there.
This is just an advisory.
Just advisory.
We're just stating what we would like to see. We have no authority in this whatsoever. It gets passed off to the Will County clerk. They asked
It
us
should be,
if we
it
would
should
do
get
this.
on there.
We agree with it, and that's what this resolution is, number 2026-004. Do you think that the state of Illinois should have a voter ID law? And that, we're not answering that question now, we're just saying we want to present this forward and put it on the ballot.
And
That's our opinion.
we're asking the clerk to direct her to certify this resolution and put the advisory public question on.
Okay, any further comment on this? Okay, if there's no other comment, we have a motion to approve this resolution 2026-004. Motion by Belinda. Do we have a second? Second by Wes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. No. Okay, this, oh, roll call, I'm sorry. I made that, I put that on there and I forget.
Trustee Olszewski,
Yes.
trustee Shepherd,
Yes.
trustee Dietz,
Yes.
supervisor Christopoulos.
Yes. Okay, very good. Thank you so much. This brings us to the final agenda item, which is a board discussion on solar facilities. Specifically, we'll be discussing Earthrise Solar and the topic of incorporation, green garden incorporation, incorporating into a rural district. It's one option of opposing such solar facilities. As I mentioned, we have two guests with us tonight. Mr. Tom Becker, who is not really a guest, he's been coming every month from the Watershed Committee, and we thank your committee again for keeping everybody, not just our township, but from my understanding, you're giving us valuable information to other townships surrounding us that are also affected by this. So we have Mr. Tom Becker. We also have Mr. Kevin Hoffmeister, and he can introduce himself in just a little bit, but he is a former Homer Glen. He was on the Homer Glen Incorporation Committee. He currently lives in Homer Glen. He lived in Homer Glen when it was a township, just a township of Homer Glen. He's in the same home as he was 25 years ago, and he was on the Planning Commission, and so he has been asked to offer some insight that he may have concerning this town. So we'll hear from these two gentlemen for 15 minutes total, and as I said, then the board will have questions, around 15 minutes of questions from the board, and then the residents will get opportunity also for questions from Mr. Tom Becker, or Kevin, or the board. So with that being said, I would like to read, before Tom comes up, I would like to read a opening statement from the board. Someone asked us, why do you plan on doing this? Why do you plan on incorporating? It wasn't even really a question, it was more of an exclamation mark of, why do you plan on doing this? And so we would like to respond because this is on all of our minds. So this is the official response from the board. We are not, quote, planning on doing this, unquote. We are a long way from deciding on incorporation, and we share many of the same concerns others may have. Incorporation was presented to us by Mr. Tom Becker's Watershed Committee as one possible option among several other options to push back against the proposed 2,500 acres of solar, 6,000 in all three townships surrounding us, including battery storage and data centers. Our goal as a township is to remain a rural residential community and not see Green Garden turn into an undesirable industrial area. If we find that incorporation would cause taxes to skyrocket or would not truly protect our rural character, then it is not something we would pursue. At this point, we are simply gathering information, discussing the potential benefits, discussing the drawbacks, and discussing the challenges. We will thoroughly research whether incorporation would help us preserve our rural residential identity and prevent 2,500 acres of prime farmland from being covered with large-scale solar installations. Other options currently being discussed and currently being implemented include, number one, organizing community opposition, including no solar signs. Number two, having strong resident turnout at the upcoming Will County Land Use public hearing, which is expected to be late March or early April. We do not have a date yet from the county regarding Earthrise solar proposal. Postcards to every household in Green Garden Township will be mailed out with the date of the public hearing, encouraging all of us to show up and have a voice. Number three, supporting potential legal action, such as the lawsuit Mr. Tom Becker's Watershed Committee may file. And number four, considering incorporation, but only after careful research into whether it would help stop the project and what the benefits and drawbacks would be. So this is a discussion that we are starting at the board level and not a decision. So with that, Tom, if you're looking forward, please.
chairman of the Township Committee. I appreciate all of you coming tonight. We have some news. I spoke with Will County Land Use Department. The public hearing for Earthrise is scheduled for March 30th. That will be at 5:30 at the Renaissance Center in Joliet. There's an additional date, it's going to be on March 31st at the same time. So that has been confirmed. I wrote the Will County Land Use Department today and I said, we have meetings here, we have meetings in Wilton and Manhattan tomorrow, and no one has any way to publicly announce when this date could be. If you think about it, some of our members from Watershed Committee from Manhattan and Green Garden went to the data center proposal that's just going to be a mile west of Manhattan. It's going to be the largest facility in Illinois, and it's going to use 1,800 megawatts of power. You consider the amount of power that is, it will be the same amount of power for powering AI as would be for every home in Chicago. That's the power. They did not give a power source as to where this is going to come from. We believe part of this is going to come from the Earthrise facility. Some of you may not be aware of the size of this Earthrise facility. I was talking with a reporter from the Tribune this afternoon, and we were looking at the size of this. The Earthrise facility that we're going to pose here is 80 square miles. That's 6,000 acres. It starts from Stumple, goes all the way to Wilmington Peatone Road in Wilton. It goes from Center Road all the way to Warner Bridge Road out in Wilton. So this is the biggest hearing that we will ever have. It's 100 parcels. It is, actually we think it's an abomination. You can't do it, which is why we have a Plan B, which is our litigation. But I would ask everyone to attend this. If you have any objections, any concerns, that is the meeting to speak. We had planned some resolutions to have for next month for our township to look at to oppose Earthrise and to look at this idea of considering incorporation. And what we found out just about a week ago is the county board has removed the other two meetings we're supposed to have in April. They have just eliminated the right to public hearing on the Earthrise project at the county board and for any future public hearings for land use applications. In other words, a few years ago, we had 5 meetings that we could go to, 2 at the township, 3 at the county. We now have 1. So this is a concern of what we're seeing, a deterioration of our ability to represent our own concerns in our own backyard. I should mention there's another solar facility that's trying to come in on Section 11. That's, it's called US Solar. There's going to be a meeting, I believe, at the Township Hall here on the 23rd. And they're going to have an open house. This is right next to the Ironwood subdivision. And they're trying to slip in while we're doing our Earthrise project. My brother tonight is at Crete because Earthrise is attempting to annex properties in Noni Township to attach them to the village of Crete. It's an illegal annexation. So he is fighting for the residents there. And we look at these solar issues, we have a 3-pronged plan, which we have been in place for some time. One is to challenge it at the zoning level. Our votes are on the edge of a knife. We have 11 Republicans who will strongly oppose Earthrise. Usually the Democrat colleagues will vote for solar. However, we have seen a shift, and some Democrats will vote with the Republicans if there is an issue of impairing rural residential growth. In fact, that's one of the reasons we brought up the idea of incorporation. As I have spoken at the Will County Board twice in the last month or so, I'm talking with the board members, and the idea that we might self-govern may be just enough. Just the idea of it may be enough to swing a vote or two. Or the idea of our preservation of our open space and our green space. So this is part of our strategy. If we don't win with Earthrise, The next step is to file litigation, which we've already talked about. We have plaintiffs in place, and we will challenge the law that created Earthrise, and we will sue Will County. The third option we have that we have not discussed before, we've been talking about it for maybe 5 months, is how do we save what we have? There are 18 sections. Green Garden has 36 sections in it. We're only 6 miles long, 6 miles wide, 36 sections, and 18 of them already have dormant solar leases in them. It's just a matter of time before they're activated and more companies come in, and at some point we won't be able to stop this. Because the only area the county board seems to be interested is when you have a rural subdivision next to it. And many of you do not have that. We have a very rural location. So our goal is to save 22,000 acres and to keep our industrial in one section, section 19. That way, all of the rest of the sections of the township will be preserved as they are as a rural district. Where our goal is to reduce your taxes, preserve the land, and create our own land use so we can protect ourselves. The big issue, incorporation is certainly the issue tonight. I've been talking about it for some time. It went from a legal strategy to an actual possibility where we could save this area for the future. I've lived here since I was a boy. I've traveled all over, seen the world, and there's nothing better than coming back to the United States. And I think we have a chance to do something that's very progressive and very novel. And we will certainly begin those discussions, but tonight and in the next 3 months, the issue is Earthrise. If you've not bought a sign, please do so. I think the family that purchased these purchased 300. We're down to our last 50. They're throughout Wilton, Manhattan, and Green Garden. If you want to write a letter, you still have 2 weeks, but the meeting is coming up on March 30th. We bring your popcorn, it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's time for us to voice our objections. As I said, we have been removed from having our presentations before the county board for the first time. So everything has to be done tonight. That's why we had to have the resolutions brought in for this meeting. It's important for all of you to attend. If there's anything you ever wanted to go to the Renaissance Center there in Joliet on the 30th, and please speak your mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Mr. Kevin Huffmeister from Homer Glen, if you would please introduce yourself. And
hi, folks. Wow, that was quite a presentation. I've been in Homer Glen since 1988. I've been on the planning commission. I was the head of the planning commission. I was a trustee. I was on the township prior to that. The reason we decided to incorporate was very similar to yours, except ours was housing density. Gallagher and Henry had a lot of leases in our area for the farmland, and we're looking for a tremendous amount of density. Apartment buildings, which we didn't want. Incorporation took 3 times on referendum to get through. Did it help? Absolutely. We had Lockport from one side wanting it, New Lenox, Lamont, all these towns were trying to squeeze us in and take over the land in that area and make it their own, similar to what's going on with Monique and Creek. So as far as what your main concern probably is, taxes. Now that can be adjusted. What we did in Homer was we contracted services. The Will County Sheriffs are contracted. It goes out for bid. We had Orland Park, New Lenox, 3 or 4 different people were trying to secure that contract. So we limited that. We don't have a park district. There's a line item, no park district. So you can limit that thing and control your costs, okay? The parks were part of the township. The village now has them now, but it's 25 years later. So it took a while for that to migrate. As far as, the tax situation, my taxes did not change. As the properties increased, yes, of course, you know, we did see a bump up, but it wasn't anything that was immediate, okay? Our assessor comes out of Will County, just like yours, okay? And that's where that basis started from, and that's who makes the decision for that. Like I said, we didn't see any increase in taxes, and we were able to control the growth. We controlled our own destiny at that point once we became a village, okay? I don't know if anybody's got any questions here.
Well, we'll start with the board. I'll start, Kevin, for you. My big concern personally is the taxes, and I've had people tell me that taxes have doubled, tripled, even quadrupled because of this extra layer of government. And you just said that that's not
the case. No, that didn't happen at all. Granted, you had people that were selling houses that had lived in there for 30 years and sold the house, and all of a sudden now it went from $100,000 to $500,000. Well, the assessor's gonna see that number and they're gonna adjust. That's where you see these big increases. But as far as my taxes, I've been there before, during, and after the incorporation, and I have not seen a tremendous amount of increase. The village has no village tax, nothing, zero. What they did decide to do a few years ago was put a 5 cents a gallon tax that goes through the village on all the gas stations, basically along 159th Street. That's your big corridor. And people are moving from Orland to Lockport, back and forth, coming off of 355. So that's where they capture that. But that wasn't until 20 years after the incorporation that they decided to do that, to fund the village government.
So currently, does Homer Glen have their own police and fire?
We had Northwest and Homer fire departments that were in place previous to incorporation. We contract, it goes out for bid to the Will County Sheriffs. So everything goes to them. So an arrest is made, it goes to Will County. What we did do to keep the cost down was to allow them to keep all profits from tickets, speeding tickets, anything that goes directly to Will County. That kept our price way down. Okay, we have no cost other than that monthly contract or that yearly contract that we have for Will County.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, let's open it up for board questions. Wes, could you get started with one question you have?
Beyond attempting to fight solar, what value does the township and its residents gain from the incorporation?
There's many benefits that we will have in the area. The first and most substantial is the preservation of our rural quality. I grew up with chickens and horses and goats, bees, and we want everyone to have that exactly as it is right now. But the only way to save that is to manage our land use and keep our industrial in one spot. We've been fighting an industrial attempt on Mooney Manhattan Road, maybe some of you don't know, for 5 years, attempting to industrialize Mooney Manhattan Road. It's not a solar, it's a cement business. The county would not find the business. They came back year after year. Now we have a federal lawsuit to determine whether our drinking water aquifer has been damaged. We have a testing company in place, but that's what happens when you lose control. We have all sorts of problems with our maintenance issues for the watershed. We have people here who are having flooding problems. And the county will not take people to task who damage other people's problems with water issues. We live in the Fort Creek watershed, the Prairie Creek watershed, And Fort Creek is our largest stream system. We live in the watershed of a tributary of the Kankakee River. And the county has been woefully inadequate to resolve these things. So it's not just the issue of solar, it's the solar batteries. Some of you don't know the solar battery companies are now circling the area. There's one for Wilton in 2029, one for Manhattan. And the state just passed a law and said the solar batteries will be free for the solar companies. And you will pay for it. ComEd customers will pay for that. The solar companies are coming from all over the United States to Illinois to put them in because they get it for free and they get the profit. So that's the next wave, and then you have the data centers coming. There's one going to be in Peatone, one in Coal City, the one just west of Manhattan. And we had already a letter from a company called Geronimo that is interested in the data center here. So this is about industrialization. These are predatory corporations. We can't call it anything else other than that. These are predators, and they're coming out to this area to pick off the area. And if we don't do something, we do nothing. But the fact is, they're coming. They're coming, they're here. The data center in, it's called Hillwood, the largest one, go to Joliet in Manhattan. They were here for several years. We went to get all the records, say, please, let us know what's going on. And they sent us 1,300 pages of blacked out records. I had to go to the Attorney General to fight to get the records. They finally released them, and it was only for 6 months of what was going on. We had no other information. And so we're dealing with, this is a $20 billion data center. This is, as we said, an 80 square mile solar facility. And we're just residents here. So this is about preserving this area for our future. And the industrial sprawl is coming. It's just a question of time. We've been looking into the solar for what, almost a year? And we're finding this pop up over and over in township after township. So we have a window of time to do something. And that's why I think this would be an effective way. The idea of taxes, we certainly can lower our taxes. I mean, we pay the highest property taxes in Illinois. We pay the highest in the nation. Isn't it time we did an audit of what our taxes, what we are actually paying on our property taxes? As far as services, we can contract for our fire and our sheriff, just like we have now. But we want to look at these issues, and mostly we want to preserve the rural quality of life. That's why we're all here. There's no reason to do it. When I first looked at this idea, I thought, oh, do we really want to get into that? And I realized this is actually a viable thing that might work to save this area for the future. A lot of townships, they do nothing. And they get rolled over by corporation after corporation. We have a chance to make a difference. We have a chance to save exactly what you have now and to keep it that way. There will not be this influx that will come in. In fact, Earthrise is trying to go to Manhattan to annex properties from this project into Manhattan. In other words, annexation will come from the west. And fortunately, we have the mayor of Manhattan. I talked to him, Mr. Adrianson, brilliant man. He says, no, Earthrise is no, we're not annexing. You want, no, we're not doing that. But in Crete, they're doing the opposite. They're trying to annex the surrounding townships for Earthrise into the villages.
Thank you, Tom. Sure. Thank you. We have several questions.
Yeah.
And there's so much to be said, but we have other questions on the board, and then we want to give the residents time as well. So we'll try to be succinct in our questions and answers to the questions. Do you have anything else, Wes, that you'd like to? And you can ask Mr. Becker or Kevin or.
Okay. Yeah. As far as one, since you kind of mentioned it, does incorporating completely eliminate solar companies from putting panels in data centers in our area for good?
We will eliminate at least 35 of the sections will be free. The 36 is 19. There's a law that says you have to accept solar, and I'm not convinced that's actually legal. Because no one says you have to have a casino. No one says you have to have a tattoo parlor, so why do we have to have it? But right now, as the law is set in Illinois, we can restrict the solar to one small section over by Willie Brothers, and everyone else can keep their green space and their cornfields and their hay fields and not worry about this for the rest of their lives.
Okay, and
Thank you.
just for this, it's kind of a similar, same question. As far as like, you know, how long it would take to incorporate and actually research all this information and all that, how would that line up as far as Earthrise goes? Because their applications are already in the working, you know, how fast would we have to act?
And Earthrise, our goal is to file the litigation if we lose, and that will deter Earthrise, but it will not deter the other companies. So the purpose of reviewing this, simply reviewing this, is a deterrent. You think about it, if an area is looking to take self-governance, pursue these issues themselves, companies will be looking elsewhere. And it is a great deterrent, just the process of doing this is a deterrent.
Thank you, Tom. Anything else, Les? Well, okay, we'll see if we have time for more.
So, what percentage of Green Garden is at risk of being annexed by other towns because of existing rules and regulations? Obviously.
All right, yeah. Right now, there are 18 sections, so that's half of your township. Earthrise is already attempting to annex in Crete, and they're pushing to annex properties into Manhattan. I've talked with the Village of Frankfurt, Village of Manhattan. They are comfortable with the boundaries that we have right now. They are actually interested in the fact they don't want to see industrial here either. So some people said, oh, well, they're going to do something. No, they are interested in us preserving what we have because that protects those villages. They don't have trucks, they don't have industry coming into those areas. So those are my conversations with the mayors and officials of two of the villages. I haven't yet spoken to Dr. Bogues in Monique. She's a delightful woman, but her father passed, and I didn't want to talk to her about this until there's some time for her before we begin.
Thank you. Any other questions, Ron?
No. Well, can you tell me, what's the timeline of this? I mean, you know, you say the meeting is the 30th. Let's say it goes through. Obviously, they have a lot of clout with the state government and all. What are we looking at? Are you guys going to file like immediately or what?
Usually, the kind of case that we filed was going to be a state case. My brother is an attorney, of course, but we're now looking at a federal action because they are not protecting our stream systems. All of this area, this 80 square miles, has watersheds, farmed wetlands. They're all part of this natural drainage pattern. When you mess it up, you flood everyone. An acre of wetland can hold 1 million gallons of water. And they are not doing their Army Corps reviews. They're not looking into the natural resource protection. So we're looking at the suit actually being possibly 2 months. But as far as your question, time frame, we will file that within the time. I'm not sure it's based on the vote, but after that will be filed, maybe within 30 to 60 days. And then we will start to look at the idea of information on incorporation. But we have to do first things first. First is the meeting, and second is the litigation, and third is the strategy as a deterrent. And the more we look at it, the more it looks like a realistic possibility to save the area.
Okay, just so everyone knows, we got a lot of questions in from residents in the area. And Jim has asked, has there been case studies done from our township?
That's fine, that's fine.
From other townships, I said.
Have we looked at those yet? Or no? Is that what you're-
From other townships.
Has any
Have
case
any
studies?
case studies done from other townships?
I don't, we have not looked at those yet.
Have they been done, do you know, Tom? Is there other townships in the area that have even done any kind of research at this point?
You know, I'm not sure. I know Homer Bend was the one in our county, and our group of researchers are looking into what the options are. I think we have a unique situation. We are a rural district. We only have 3,850 people. So we don't want to be a village. We want to be a rural district. And I think we're going to look at other states. They actually tax different than other states, which is why their taxes are so low. So we're going to look both at taxation and the rural district. But right now, I don't have any case studies on any other townships who have done this.
Thank you, Tom.
I'm just curious for comparative sake. Do you know how big Homer Glen is population-wise?
Right now, we're 25,500. When we incorporated, we had 20,000 people in Homer Glen. So it was a good base, a good voting base. So there was obviously a lot of influence with 20,000 people versus 3,800. But our biggest problem was they wanted to change the density numbers, and that's how this whole thing started. Very similar to your situation, where it's not homes, but it's solar, so it's encroaching on your way of life. Homer's underlying is community and nature and harmony. That's the same for Homer Glen, it's on the sign. So that's what you guys are trying to achieve. I understand what you're trying to do. The rural district I'm not real familiar with, but I gave Dean some names of people. Now again, that's 25 years ago we did this. So the players have changed dramatically. I've referred to some people that might be very, very influential on that end, if that's the idea you want to go to, because they've done it many times before, out of state, in state, so.
And Kevin, if I understood you correctly, and if this isn't correct, please clarify. Because again, tax is a big issue, taxes going up. So does it have more to do with the services that we as a community want? I mean, if we want our own police force, obviously it's going to cost more money. If we want, a library, if we want a park district. So is it all based on the services, or in your experience, if we incorporate, it's an automatic increase?
No, we didn't have that situation at all. I mean, there was already a library in Homer. Some of these things were already, we had 20,000 people, so we had to have some of these services already set up. So, but as far as adding things, people wanted more police protection after the town was up. When we originally started, we had 2 officers during the day and 2 officers at night. Well, now, the amount of traffic and the amount of people, we've increased it, but again, there's more revenues coming in, there's more stores, all that stuff that you probably won't have for quite a long time, but we did. So the sales tax revenue, all the rest of that stuff contributed.
So if we wanted to stay the same or very similar to what we have now, it's in your opinion, it's not going to quadruple our taxes?
No, I don't see quadrupling your taxes. I mean, unless your tax assessor wants to get back at you guys for incorporating, out of Will County, that's, and that's a fight. I fought my taxes every year. For many, many years, they didn't change. Just recently, they started to move, but that's 25 years ago.
Would you mind answering, if you don't, this is maybe too personal, your home, how much tax, what's your value? I know the value already of your home because I looked it up.
Okay.
I didn't look up the tax.
So my taxes are $12,500. And my home is $850,000.
Yeah.
According to Dean.
Yeah, 800,000
Yeah.
for sure. Are you a senior citizen?
I am.
Okay, so you have a senior's exemption. So that's.
Well, not yet, but I have a.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
But you fight your taxes, and so they probably would have been higher than 12,000, because 12,000 for an $800,000 home is pretty good.
Yeah, I trust it.
Yeah, okay, well, thank you. Thanks for your insight, Kevin, and you made a special appearance here, and so just wanted to make
Could I ask one more question before you go? Just like, to what degree were you able to know before incorporating, like, whether or not taxes were going to go up, and how much did you not know? Like, were there any ambiguity as far as this might change or not?
Well, we thought it could change depending on the amount of services. We have many referendums. Do you guys, do the residents want a park district? That's another line item. Do you want a police department? Do you want a full-time fire department? Which they had already, but it was through the township. So that was already a line item.
Okay.
Highway services. Originally, Homer Township, the village contracted with the township to plow the streets and do all that stuff. Now, the township has become the town. So that's all under one roof now.
And most of those things you could find out before incorporating, or you didn't incorporate them?
No, we incorporated, we were, the biggest goal was to keep everyone's taxes in line.
Okay.
So that's why we did the things that we did.
Okay.
Thank you, Kevin. And now that you mentioned the roads, if I could quickly open it up, please, to the road commissioner, the collector, and the assessor, if you have any questions for Tom or Kevin. Can we start with Jim?
Go. Kevin, thanks for coming out.
Oh, no.
Kind of funny, Michael and I both grew up in Homer Township. Moved out there in '77. Volunteered for the fire department.
Can we get a microphone there, please?
Oh, yeah. Just want to say thanks, Kevin, for coming out. Michael and I both grew up in Homer Township. My parents moved out there in 1977. I think I was 7 years old.
We just want the video, we can hear you here, but we're concerned for the video.
You got me now? Okay, good. I'm just too young to really understand incorporation. I know my parents were involved in it, and they were on the other side. They were over it. But just as an adult now, I'm trying to figure out, like, you're gonna need a lot more government. You're gonna need you needed a building department, right?
Well, we used Will County to begin with.
Did they charge you?
There was a fee for permits and everything else, but it was a pass-through number. I mean, that's what, when you're a homeowner and you need to build a home, that permit, all the money went to Will County.
So now, what happens is we do have a building department, and all plans are now reviewed by a third party. We don't have an on-site engineer. They did for a little while, but they figured it was easier just to job it out. There's no liability this way. You're getting a large engineering firm to process all that stuff for you. So, but as far as having all that stuff in place, we did not.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out how your taxes didn't go up. That's just walking through it. So, with your building department, you contracted out through Will County, and then the fees for the permits were basically a pass-through fee that paid for the inspections and the permits. That's how that worked, to get away from that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Not to say my taxes never went up.
Right, no, but I mean.
They did go up, but not at a tremendous rate.
Okay.
But we got a lot more services too now.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's how it works, more taxes, more services, but most of us, like myself, moved out here for the reason of, I'd rather have less services and lower taxes. You know, if I want a workout center, I'll go to Planet Fitness, you know, something like that. Everybody's got their own, what they like.
Right, if you choose to create your own destiny in your town, I think the best thing is some sort of incorporation or a rural district. Because if you don't, believe me, you will get run over. It's 100%.
I'm not against the.
I'm not here to fight one way or the other with it.
I'm just trying to figure out the taxing part. I'm just looking at the money side. Like, how did you guys? I just want to make sure. Like, I know you said they go up much, but like, how did you answered how you paid for the building department. Public Works was the road district, so it sounds like the road district took over like your Public Works department for quite a few years. Is that right?
Well, it was Homer Township, which was the highway department,
Yeah.
which was there before incorporation. So it was already a standing entity. So what ended up happening after 20 years of the township doing the work for the town actually paid the township to do the roads. They would collect the road tax, and then the township would take care and maintain all that stuff. After a number of years, it didn't work anymore at the township level when you've got a whole town with all this infrastructure now, so it all kind of migrated over. village took over the township roads. Right now, there's about 7 miles of township roads. That's it.
Right, yeah.
The rest is in the town.
Okay. So did it work with the taxes where you always have to pay the road district tax? Like, we have residents in Frankfurt, Belinda's one of them. Her street in front of her house is not a Green Garden Road, but she still pays like a small percentage. It's like an equipment and whatever fee, but there's still a small township tax. How much did the township, how much did, Homer Township pay to the road district? It seems like at one point you have, like right now, we have a road district, takes care of all the roads in Green Garden. If we incorporate, now they incorporated, you have city government, and then the money goes to them, back to the road district. Was it more or less, or?
It was the same. It was a pass-through number. So whatever the village, if you were in the village, that highway road tax automatically went, the village would just accumulate that money and pay the township that money.
Okay.
So there was no increase. It was just a pass-through number. That's how it started. Now it's a little different because now we have, 25 years later, we've got a lot more infrastructure in the town.
Yeah, I understand like the growing pains, and there's more need and more tax dollars to do that. It's just, like I said, just trying to figure out how, to me, it just seems like whenever you add more government, there's more expense. And I'm looking at, I just want cheap taxes, you know, I mean, maybe not just cheap taxes. I'm not in favor of the solar, and I just want to weigh up what are my options as far as a resident. Am I gonna have to pay for whatever, an increased tax bill to incorporate, to fight this? Or is it gonna, you know, if we incorporate, where are my taxes, I guess is what I was trying to figure out. And it doesn't sound like, sounds like you got this where you started out, there wasn't that much of an increase because most of the taxes were passed through. Is that
Correct, absolutely. That's exactly what happened. We took over a park that was a former golf course. That was a part of that. It was 103 acres golf course. And it went into bankruptcy. No developers wanted to touch it. The village bought it for probably 20% of what it's worth at the time because no developers were building or anything. And now we have a 103-acre park in the center of town, or the center of Homer Glen, that we acquired, and now all the residents can utilize that, and we bought it on the cheap. So it depends, it depends on what you want to do. We didn't go out and buy a big park right away, we kind of waited for something to happen, and we saw it, we seized the opportunity. But the whole idea in your case is, you're trying to prevent something from happening. You're trying to prevent solar panels from being completely encompassing. So I understand where you're coming from. I don't know. Is that worth a little bit more tax? I don't know. Maybe not to you, but maybe to somebody else it is. But I don't envision huge numbers in tax increases because of that, because you can control what your services are.
And if I might mention, it's actually, the goal is simply to transfer the payments right away from the county, and that would simply go through the local municipality. We're not going to be adding a bunch of services because we don't need them. We only have 3,800 people. We're going to take this very simply, and a lot of the concerns you have, I think at this point, are premature. We have just begun the process. We can't even consider this without going to the local villages, and I've already talked with some of them. The idea of the taxes will be thoroughly reviewed for everyone here. We will go through an audit of our services, see what we're paying, where we contract, just like these, we've been talking about. We can actually bid out to see who's going to give us the best price on these services. We will be paying less taxes, I believe, based on what we've been looking at right now. We're not going to expand this beyond a rural district. That's the goal. I think we can set that in our charter, that this would be about a rural district. Homer Glen has 25,000 people. They've grown over time. But we talked about it. We're simply going to shift the payment of the taxes, and I believe we'll be able to reduce them as well. But that information is not available yet. We're still doing our research. That will probably be available within 3 to 6 months. and everyone can look at those and assess those. But right now, this is our strategy to start this as deterrent and to help us with the votes on Earthrise, to let them know there's an interest in this community to preserve itself. If they think, well, Green Garden, we can just run all over them. The fact that we put up a fight, the fact that we say, hey, we might look at our options and we might leave the county if you don't help us, that's a strong deterrent to help us. And that's the stage we're at right now. All of your concerns will be answered in time.
Thank you. Thanks, Jim. Anything else? Mike?
Yeah, I have a couple of things. Tom Becker, who's we? When you say we will answer your questions and we will address all your issues, who's the we?
We is the Watershed Committee. We are the largest volunteer organization in Green Garden Township. We have a mailing list of 2,000 people, and we have been asked by residents to look into this. This is not a township matter. In fact, the whole idea of incorporation is with the inhabitants. It's not a government thing that is done. It is from the inhabitants. I have people calling me saying they will not build their homes in Green Garden. I have a man and woman, they have been out here 8 years. They were going to start their home this year, and they've stopped it all. I have people wanting to move, people wanting to leave. They say, what can we do? I talked to people, residents in 3 townships, just the last few months, what their concerns are. So as a watershed committee that's been here for 22 years, we're looking at Earthrise. No one had to stop to fight Earthrise, but I did that because I gave my word to Mrs. Robinson and her sister Tina. I thought it was going to be another 40-acre site. It ended up being 11,000 acres and 80 square miles. But I gave my word to do that. And as we went through this process, we started to look at alternatives, which were litigation and incorporation. We already have done this for several months. We will bring this to the Planning Commission so they can look at it. We will then bring it to the board. But we are an organization that has been here for 22 years to fight these battles. And I believe we're well suited to begin this process.
Thank you, Tom.
Dean, I just want to ask, the resolution 2026-06 to pursue additional information regarding the corporation, is that a committee that's being set up and you already have a committee appointed, or is that going to be the watershed committee? And it's just as I ask questions, and will we then have a chance to make comments before you vote on that resolution, or is this our only chance?
Yeah, the way, well, first, if we even get to that resolution tonight, there's some board members that we want to pass this resolution off to our township attorney to have a look at it. Because there's, and we could read it at the end here, but there are certain specific points in it. So we would commission the watershed committee to start the real research, which they've done already with solar, but we're at the beginning stages of investigating incorporation. We all want the right answers, detailed answers, an unbiased opinion. I mean, obviously, we could create a resident committee, but if we put a resident committee together that doesn't want to incorporate, that's not a good thing. If we put another committee together that wants to incorporate, that's not a good thing. So we're going, you know, we're playing this as we go. We're going to start with the watershed committee, look at the research. They're committed to bringing it to the planning commission. The planning commission, some of which are here tonight, will look at it, examine it, come before the board with it, and then we'll see. Do we want a resident committee? How do we want to proceed with it? We just don't know yet. It's still too early, but ultimately, and this is very important for all of us to know, ultimately this goes before the residents of Green Garden Township.
Right, but
this is not a board decision.
Right, but my question is, who is the committee going to be comprised of? Is that already determined?
No, well, what's determined is if we vote for this, the start of it would be the watershed committee.
So
it's not exclusive to them.
Okay, so will I have a chance to make comments before you vote on the resolution, or is this our chance to make comments on the resolution?
You'll have an opportunity to.
Okay, because I would like to make comments on the resolution, but it's not a question, so I don't want to take up question time with a comment.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
The only thing I will say for Homer, the distinction I'll make in that is that Homer did embrace commercial, and And my feeling from the voters in Green Garden, from talking to a lot of voters going door to door, is we don't embrace commercial. We don't want a lot of gas stations, we don't want a lot of restaurants, we don't want a lot of commercial in our rural residential community. Homer embraced that. If you look down 159 in Bell, you look down 143 in Bell, you see a lot of commercial. You see Home Depot, you see Menards, you see a lot of restaurants, you see a lot of businesses. The Kmart was there. My father lived at 159 in Bell, died in September, God rest him, and his home was valued at was $450,000, and his taxes were at $8,500. So, you know, I know that he certainly didn't have the same story that Kevin has. He certainly complained more about taxes than Kevin is, and his taxes certainly did go up. I, as a child, probably didn't look at the tax bills, but I certainly heard about them.
They were how much were they? 8,000?
So he was $8,500.
That's less than 2%.
At a $450,000 house with senior.
And was that during the township days or after?
This was after. This was in September.
When was it?
When he passed away in September.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, all right. So that's recent with all the services that Homer currently.
But again, Homer has a lot of sales tax we don't have. They had a different situation. They were voting on an incorporation, and I know from your story, and I was there at the time, it was preemptive to stop the high density population. It wasn't reactive to stop something that's already happened. So I think there's some distinct differences that we need to look at. But again, I'll reserve my comments for the comment section, not the questions.
Thank you, Mike. And if I could just comment quickly on this, is that is a question also with these other benefits. I think Wes brought them up. I want to know, would incorporation help us with land use in general, not just solar, so that we have a say-so in apartment complex, whatever, different land use questions, but
the one question I would have though for Kevin, and I know nobody answered, did all of Homer Township become Homer Glen? And how was it determined which parts of Homer Township remained township, unincorporated, which parts became incorporated Homer Glen, and which parts then also became Lockport, even though we were trying to stop Lockport, Orland, New Lenox, Mohina, Lamont? How successful were some of those communities in taking, or not annexing, I suppose, parts of Homer Glen? And when did Homer Glen and Homer Township, where were those battle lines decided?
Well, the Lockport line was, there was a boundary agreement because of 355. So there kind of was that was kind of a line in the sand right there. But actually, Homer is actually not all the way up to 355. Lockport does jump over a little bit, but there's boundary agreements. And they have just since expired. So people could annex out into Lockport if they want. But there are homes, I mean, I have some homes near me that didn't incorporate and decided, oh, we're gonna get taxed. Well, never happened. Still 25 years, we still won't have a village tax. 159th Street is an interstate. The state put that through. I mean, you've got 6 lanes, 3 in each direction. It's a perfect corridor for business. And it did help, absolutely, it helped Homer. And now they're widening Bell Road now, which goes north and south. That's gonna be widened, it'll look like 159th Street. So if you wanna fight, you know, the progress in that situation, I don't think you're ever gonna have that out here. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Manhattan Road becomes 159th Street. And at that point, do you guys say, well, let's take advantage of this, let's get some sales tax money. But that was thrust upon us. This is where we're putting this road, so you take advantage of the situation and work with it. So that, kind of played with it.
Okay, thank you. It's 8:15. We want to get to the resident questions as well, but we're anxious to hear from our assessor as well. Any questions that you may have?
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for coming and thank you for your input. My experience is, first of all, do you know what your assessed value of your home is? Not your market value, your assessed value. That's what you're taxed on. It's a difference.
Right. Did I have an appraiser come out?
No. Do you know what the assessor is assessing your actual value?
I don't have that off the top of my head.
Okay, just curious. A lot of times, just so people are aware, very often you will have a market value and your assessed value is considerably lower, okay, what we're actually taxing you on. So, you know, you gotta be careful when you're talking, you've gotta know what you're saying here. Mike brought up about the commercial, which is huge, okay? We don't have a commercial, we have a tiny little bit of assessed value at all coming in, or revenue that comes in from commercial and industrial. So unless that were to change, I don't see how the taxes could not frankly go up. If you bring in, you talked about a village tax, there is going to be additional line items, taxing bodies on your tax bill, okay, when you incorporate. Those are all, have to be funded, okay, so there's all dollar amounts with that. I mean, could we limit it? Of course, I mean, there's all that discussion that could be had, but it's just like, and I don't mean to pick on Belinda, but it's just like Belinda living in Five Oaks. Five Oaks has, being part of Frankfurt, being within Frankfurt boundaries, they have many more line items on their tax bill than we do in the unincorporated areas, and therefore they pay a great deal more taxes. They're our highest paying tax area right now in Green Garden. It just goes without saying, there isn't, I don't know how you can add more taxing bodies and not incur additional taxing fees. Again, you know, maybe I'm missing something. Do you know?
Well, I'm talking about in the beginning. I'm talking about, we did not have all those taxing bodies when we first incorporated 25 years ago. They've been added as the town grew, you know.
So they expanded the incorporation, correct? They expanded, that's really the gist of it, they expanded the boundaries eventually.
Sure.
Correct? It's like right now, there's a very, if I understood correctly, there's a very little sliver of Homer that's actually still unincorporated, correct?
That's township and not
That's
town?
township, correct.
And I've heard if I may interrupt, just as Mike is, you have a lot of questions, but they really need to be more simplified as to the issues. Right now, Earthrise, Jane, is picking up the properties along the commercial section. They're picking them up as leases all along Route 45. So they're already picking up those leases. And they're already, if you look under the lid, it's a company called Accelerate Infrastructure. And they're interested in developing, those are industrial developers. So that's something to consider. As far as our services, right now we're paying for these services through the county. We believe we can manage this without improved, excuse me, Jane. The issue here is premature. What we're asking this board to do is to support us when we go to Earthrise, to these meetings, to say yes, they will consider this option. We have several months of research, and we're some months away from even presenting the issues so we can answer Jim or Mike or your questions. We're talking about issues that have yet not been set up. The goal here is to consider the idea of preserving a rural district so we save this area. All of those issues will be ferreted out. If we find it's not feasible, then the watershed committee will say, you know what? Don't call us when the solar comes next to your property because we can't help you anymore.
Well, please forgive me, Tom, but it is, they asked if I would speak as the assessor.
No,
Am I not allowed to?
Jane, please.
Okay,
I did
well,
not say
then I
you
do have a
couldn't
question.
speak.
Okay, Earthrise is also
Jane-
purchasing the properties. So how are we gonna manage that, though? I'm not sure if I
What's
understand.
the question, Jane? I'm sorry. Say your question again.
Okay, never mind.
No, could you say your question, please?
Just what are we doing about the purchased properties?
Oh.
The properties that have been purchased?
Returning to Earthrise properties, they will remain under their ownership, but they will not generate solar. Because if you incorporate those sections, will become rural residential locations. The lease properties will all be eliminated, because if the Earthrise project is eliminated, all their leases go with it. They have tried to hedge their bets by purchasing some of these to put leverage. We've seen this before in industrial locations where they would buy and invest in order to get leverage. They will be like any other landholder. They will now own an area that is rural residential.
Thank you very much. And Jane, we appreciate your insight as the assessor. We value your opinion on these things. You deal with the taxes and assessment values. Any other questions that you have? Okay, great. So, I know it's 8:20, I'd like to turn this over now to the residents' questions. What I ask you to do, maybe to expedite this rather than coming forward like we typically do, Wes, would you mind, when someone wants to speak, raise their hand, the chair will recognize them. I'm gonna ask that you state your name for the record, and Wes will, give you the microphone. So, yeah, these are questions, so let's keep it to a minute. If we have more time, we can keep going through it. So please state your name for the record, Mark.
Hello, Mark Sarkeesian. I walked through the door tonight thinking there's no way I would want to incorporate because the taxes are going to go higher. Now I realize I have way more questions and I don't understand the difference between a village, a municipality, a city, a township. I don't know. I want to say a couple questions that I have, and I don't want any answers, but my point is going to be that this whole incorporation thing, I think we should have a 3-hour dedicated meeting with some answers. So number one, in my head, I think that from Stager Road North, they pay 50% more taxes than we do. Number two, I think that for solar, for example, with the Pritzker law, that tied everything to the county level, and I still don't know why they're litigating on our behalf, probably because we made such a presence when we went to Will County. I don't understand if some of the solar in what I'll call the cities versus townships, if they can fight any better because they're cities versus township. I think one thing I learned is if we're incorporated, maybe we can't be annexed. And if I had to choose between paying another $1,000 a month for taxes or having solar somewhere, that'd be a tough decision. But I don't want my taxes to go up. There's probably a bunch more questions, and I'm not looking for answers today, but I think before we go any further, we should have a deep dive on what it means.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thanks, Mark. Is there anyone else that would like to question? Yes? You state your name for the record.
Bill Wagner. I want to clarify something a little bit. The difference between Five Oaks and what we're talking about incorporating is Five Oaks was annexed, which means they immediately got Frankfurt's tax rate added to their bill. And all the, whether they got services more from Frankfurt or not, as soon as they got annexed, they became part of Frankfurt. We're starting off fresh. I know Homer Glen didn't issue a levy until 2015, and that's to your point of how you didn't really raise your taxes. Probably paid a little more through township funds, but anyway, beyond that, the concern I have is that when, my understanding was when Pritzker wrote the law, he put in there some kind of stipulation that municipalities cannot change things to fight solar. And my concern is becoming a municipality or becoming a village, changing things that we're not allowed to do that. I think what we've stood on so far was that our comprehensive plan has backed us quite a bit. That's it.
Can I just respond directly to Bill? Just the comprehensive plan that we have that everybody worked so hard for with Shirley in the past is now shredded. And the municipalities they have to pass a law on solar that they can locate it in a specific area so it's not sprawling. So municipalities have the right to put it in an industrial zone. And that is the control we have.
The question is, do we have the right to become a municipality to fight solar?
We do, yes, under home rule, under the Illinois Constitution.
Thank you, Bill, for your question. Good question. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just have a comment.
State your name for the record.
Sure, Jeff Becker, Watershed Committee as well. Just so you know, like on your line item right now, you're already paying for the school district. The school district has lost 1,000 students, but we're still paying exactly the same amount for our school district. Does everyone know that? Second, then we're paying for the Moni Fire District. We're already paying that. So we could contract for that as well and put out bids. Next.
That's wrong.
That's,
if you're north, you're paying Frankfurt.
right, sure, but we're paying, but there's a line item already in your taxes already going either where Moni is, so, sorry, I should have explained it better. Ours is going to Moni. If you're by Frankfurt, you're paying to Frankfurt. Or Manhattan, so it's a line item. So, and then you're already paying for the Will County Sheriff and all the land use of Will County. We're paying for the Green Garden Road Fund for Mr. Hilliard, that comes fourth. So that's the fourth thing that we're paying for. We're paying for all those other services ahead of that. Then we're paying for a community college. Then after that, the Green Garden Township Fund. So, and then we're paying for the Forest Preserve, the Piatone Library, and the Community Health Board. So all those things could be reviewed and looked at, and our taxes could be lowered by lowering the other services that are already going to all those other places right now.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Please keep in mind, this is the start of this conversation, right? There's a lot more to come. Anyone else would like to have a question or say anything? Yes?
Yeah, I guess a real thing is having proper information allows us to be informed, if that makes sense, right? So we are already paying for some line items. It's just, I think we're kind of afraid of the line items that we don't know, right? So it would be having proper information would allow us to all be educated / decisions.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to comment or ask a question? Yes, sir. State your name for the record.
Carol.
Pardon me?
Carol. What is the difference between a rural district? Is that what you were saying, Tom?
Yeah. The rural district is simply a designation so that we don't have to become a village with a police department. We have lived our lives out here, wishing to be left alone to live our own lives. But we're no longer left that possibility. We have predatory corporations that are going to come here. The rural district is to keep things as they are. So you can have your chickens and your goats and your horses. Our goal is to have a rural area. The one issue of what I would consider is to have a farmer's market as part of this process. So we're looking at keeping things exactly as they are, preserving our green space, and I think a deep dive in our taxes and services will be able to actually reduce our taxes. But the rural district is different. We will be called the Village of Green Garden because that's what we become a corporation. But the rural district will define those boundaries so we stay in the rural nature and preserve our quality of life.
I think there's a lot of I think there's just a lot of fear of the unknown.
Sure.
We don't know, and then as the explanations are clarified, people would be more comfortable with it. And I think it's to your credit that you are bringing this forth to help us.
Thank you, and I appreciate everyone's concerns. We were just looking at this as a deterrent, and we realized it became a possibility. None of the concerns about the taxes, and so we have not begun to review all of those. Once we go through that process, if we find out it doesn't work, well, you know what, we're going to be left with solar and solar batteries, and that's it. But I think we have a window of opportunity here, and we will make sure everyone here understands. We'll go through every section for your taxes, like Mrs. Pinecrush is in section 8, Mr. Ross is in 11, Ralph's in 13, Mr. Christophos is in 24, Mrs. Rizzo is in 27. We're all in this different sections together, but I believe we can do something to save our future. And all of the issues and concerns about taxes, which is the main concern, will be fully reviewed, and we will present that as a volunteer committee. We will present that to our planning commission so they can then look at that, they can bring it to the board, and all of you, there's an entire process after that where you sign a petition, and then you vote. So nothing will happen today. The reason this is being brought up at this time is because of Earthrise. is because county board members have said, if you're really willing to fight that hard, maybe we'll stick with you. So it is a strategy, and I think it has viability for us to consider this. Right now, we're just asking people to let it sink in, to not worry, nothing's gonna change. We will present all your tax issues to you, but we want you to just think about the idea. I've been raising it for 5 months. I'm grateful for everyone here who's concerned. But we will do all of those things. We're not gonna bring anything to this committee or that would harm you. For what purpose would we do that? The purpose is to preserve what we have.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks for your question. Any other questions regarding this topic?
May I just say one quick
Yes.
thing? Just, if you are going to incorporate, you might want to start thinking about a name, because you cannot use the Village of Green Garden, okay? It's not possible, so. you might
Why
want to-
is that, Jim? Why is that?
There was something passed in 1961 that you can't, if there's a direct conflict with Green Garden Township, so you can't have Village of Green Garden. You'd have Green Acres, you'd have Green Prairie, but you can't have Village of Green Garden.
Well, we'll work on that, Jane. Don't worry about it. That's an issue that's so far in the future. Our goal is actually to start a website so that everyone here can go to that website, not through the township. And I think we're gonna talk about, it's called Build a Village, and we're gonna be a rural district. So everyone will have access, all information will be online. Because in order for us to do, this is just the mere thinking of it. That's all this is. It's just the beginning of the process, and we want everyone to be comfortable.
Thank you. Yes.
Can I just ask one thing, Karen,
Just state
please?
your name for the record, please, in just one moment for the microphone.
I'll be quick.
Karen Playton. I am just wondering, I have been to the past two, three meetings. Has there been a map generated of our township and the areas that Earthwise either has a lease or own designated on that map so people have a visual? Because when you talk about the roads and all of that, it's like, okay, but I think people need a visual of how this is going to literally encompass everything. I think that would be helpful.
Yes, we do have a map on the website. It's on the
Okay.
first introductory page of the watershed. It's from Will County. It is their map. And that includes the 80 square miles of the starting of the solar facility. We also have maps showing some of the dormant facilities throughout. They go as far west as 88th Avenue. They go there as far south as Pauling, Shear, Offner, halfway between Drawley and Stockholm. They're both the ones that are going to be in this phase, but there are also dormant properties that continue to show up on the recorder of deeds, which is why we believe there's going to be a second phase that impacts Green Garden, Manhattan, Wilton, Peatone, Wesley, and Florence.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to comment or have a question? Thank you. Linda, did you have something? Okay, so we have two resolutions concerning this topic. Township Resolution 2026-006 to pursue additional information regarding incorporation. We are, okay, yes, let's go to the first one that's on the agenda is Township Resolution 2026-005, opposing Earthrise Solar. We are all in favor of voicing our opposition. However, there has been a concern from some of the board that there are statements on here that would serve us well to show our township attorney. There are statements on here opposing Earthrise, but I'll go ahead and read this one. It's not real long. Whereas the solar developer Earthrise has filed Will County application ZC 25-129 for special use permit to construct an industrial solar facility on farmland.
Did we change the road to Brittany again?
Yes, And whereas this 100 parcel scattered site project will span 6,000 acres in 3 rural Will County townships, including Green Garden, Manhattan, and Wilton townships. And whereas the Earthrise Solar Project may, and there's 11 listed here, we added 1, violate established land use zoning standards, may consume 200 times more land than the footprint required for natural gas power, may not be compatible with the weather and conditions of northern Illinois, may produce a 12% grid capacity factor compared to 99% capacity from reliable energy sources, may destroy the rural quality of life and landscape that our township residents cherish, may damage the soils of prime farmland and adversely impact the natural environment, may destabilize our rural community and introduce industrial sprawl, may end rural residential growth and the long-standing orderly transition of farmland to compatible, to compatible rural uses. Number 9, will irreparably harm the Fork Creek and Prairie Creek watersheds by disregarding federally protected waters of the United States. Number 10, may increase flooding and erosion by ignoring farmed and uninventoried wetlands, hydric soils, and unmapped tile systems. The 11th one that we spoke about was that, and someone brought this up, was that this Earthrise project is incompatible with our comprehensive land use map. So in other words, it's not in the area that we want solar in our community. It was brought to our attention from the board that I suggest that we hold off on this because we want our township attorney to look at this. There's statements being made here that we could agree with, but we want to see from a legal perspective if this is something that our township attorney would say is okay. Because this is a resolution that's coming from the board that we're signing, saying these items may be true. We did change them to may instead of are true because research needs to know. So, any thoughts regarding board members on this?
So we could actually just sign this pending our township's attorney's approval.
We could do that.
And it'd be law.
We could do that, and then if it gets changed.
Well, then we'd have to make a change.
Yeah, and the idea here is that we want to get this resolution before the county by the March 30th meeting. So I'm personally okay with calling us, if we had changes and our attorney said we have to, the board cannot act on anything, we can vote on anything unless it's a public meeting. We would have to call for a special board meeting specifically to vote this in. So we could vote. My gut feeling tells me our attorney is going to want to change something, maybe not, I don't know. So we could vote pending that. What are your guys' thoughts? Yes?
Dean, on these that you read, you went pretty quick. Which ones did you take out? Did you take any out?
No, I didn't take any out. We just added one at the end, was the incompatibility.
Okay, and you did change the word will to may, correct, on each of those? Because it may.
Yes.
Okay, and if we vote to approve this, we could approve it pending the legal comments, like you said, and I would have no problem going to a special meeting. This is important because if you're telling me that the meeting's March 30th and you need this to help you fight for all the residents in Green Garden, this is an important resolution.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
I
you.
agree. Wes, do you have any comment regarding that?
I just would piggyback, as long as we change, we're agreeing on the fact that we change the will to may. If that's what you're gonna send to.
Yeah.
then
Yeah, that's, yeah.
change it now, so we're
Okay,
gonna sign it.
and I have a
can
copy of
change
it,
all
I think I have a
Yeah.
copy with a change, but,
With the will, I
Yeah.
mean,
And adding number
but
11.
go ahead, please, yeah, and number 11. And we can stay after for a few minutes too. All right, so any other discussion from the board? Is there any, comment from the residents, from the public regarding this? Okay, if there's no other further discussion, I want to entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2026-005, opposing Earthrise Solar, pending the review of our township attorney's approval. Is there a motion?
Didn't you just say we were changing it to May?
Yes, we did. Yes, yeah, I'm doing it right now. So when we sign it, it'll,
Yeah.
I'm
So
doing
that's
it,
it.
and I'll print it, yeah. Pending
Good.
legal.
It sounded like you
And I'll
were
add
gonna
11.
read the will then.
Yeah, no, we'll change that. Good,
Okay.
good point, Ralph.
And
No,
then
that's-
adding 11.
Pardon me?
And adding 11.
And
And
then-
adding number 11, yeah. Okay, do we have a motion from the board? Motion by trustee Belinda, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ralph Dietz.
Roll call.
Thank you very much. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Rosetsky,
Yes.
trustee Dietz,
Yes.
trustee Shepherd,
Yes.
supervisor Christopoulos.
Yes. Motion as stated has been carried, and we'll follow through with that. Thank you very much. The next resolution and the last one on the agenda is Resolution 2026-006 to pursue additional information regarding incorporation. And I believe that's a big key here, to pursue additional information regarding incorporation. I will go ahead and read this. Whereas the state of Illinois and county of Will have passed laws and ordinances that benefit industrialization over the interests of unincorporated rural residents, and whereas such laws shred township land use plans, violating zoning standards, and remove the decision-making powers of township officials, and whereas the Will County Board has now abolished the right to a public hearing before the county board on land use matters, and whereas the inhabitants of Green Garden Township desire to prevent industrial sprawl from ruining their quality of life and property values, and whereas the residents of Green Garden Township are also seeking relief from excessive taxation, as Illinoisans pay the highest property taxes in the nation. And whereas there is a window of opportunity to preserve 22,000 acres of Green Garden Township for farms, farmettes, estates, and large lot subdivisions before the tide of unwanted industrialization arrives. And, this is the final one, and whereas the transition to an incorporated status could restore local control over land use, could reduce property tax burdens, and could save thousands of acres of prime farmland currently vulnerable to predatory industrial corporations. Therefore, the Green Garden Township Supervisor and Board of Trustees, with an interest towards exploring the feasibility of a limited rural incorporation, task the Watershed Committee, a volunteer non-governmental organization, to start the gathering of information on the feasibility of such a venture. I'd like to open this up to the board before we ask for a motion. Any discussion?
So we had some changes, just.
Okay, so, on the last paragraph, my time's up, I have to go home. Sorry. The last paragraph, therefore, the Green Township Supervisor Board Trustee with an interest towards exploring the feasibility. At the end, if it could say, and compile the information for the trustees' review. For the board, the trustees review, or it could be the board trustee, the GGT board, whatever you want.
Can I review this? Huh?
You can review, well, you're part of the board.
Right, that's what it was.
That's his point.
Oh, thank you. But we could put Green Garden Board, how's that?
Yeah, that would be more
Green
accurate.
Garden Township Board. How about the supervisor and trustees? Whatever.
What about, I'm I'm sorry to interrupt, go ahead, I was gonna just mention the plan commission, we talked about possibly bringing it before the plan commission first.
Yeah, but for this resolution purpose, it's the trustees, right? The other thing we could also add in the last paragraph, if everybody wanted to, by passing this resolution, in no way holds the Green Garden trustees / supervisor liable for approving the incorporation, but rather gives them the information to review and make an informed decision.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Everyone's okay with that? Okay. Any further discussion from the board? Is there any comment from the public concerning this resolution?
I would have a comment.
Yes, Mike.
Is this working?
Green, there you go.
Hello? Hello? All right, I just want to read into the record. Hello? Okay, I just want to read into the record a formal objection to this. Not to the process, but to how the process is going to be conducted. So while I value the preservation of our rural character, I must formally state my objection to the current proposal for an incorporation exploratory committee. Based on number one, ethical conflict of interest. The proposed appointments include individuals who are currently engaged in active legal challenges against solar applications within the township. Appointing active litigants to a government body or committee for the express purposes of influencing their own legal outcomes creates significant conflict of interest and undermines the impartiality of our local government. Number two, statutory limitations. The stated intent of this committee is to block solar. This faces severe legal hurdles under Illinois Public Act 102-1123. The state of Illinois has restricted the authority of local governments to prohibit commercial renewable energy facilities, establishing a new layer of government solely to bypass the state law may invite bad faith litigation, leaving the taxpayers to fund a costly and potentially unsuccessful legal defense. I believe that a proactive approach forward is recommended here. I am not inherently opposed to incorporation, but it must be pursued for the right reasons, impartially researched, and presented for the holistic benefit of the township. I propose that the board adopt the following three-pillar approach. First of all, an independent and diverse representation. The committee should be composed of a broad cross-section of stakeholders, including agricultural landowners, fiscal experts, and residents who are not currently party to any active litigation involving the township or county. This ensures that the findings are credible and objective. Number two, a comprehensive legal and financial audit. Before appointments are made, the township should commission an independent study to provide a realistic assessment of the municipal powers under the current Illinois law. We must confirm whether incorporation provides the control we seek before we ask the taxpayers to fund it. And number three, a community-first transparency. The board should host a series of public workshops to foster a two-way dialogue. Residents deserve to understand the long-term impact of their property taxes and local services before any path is chosen. So while Green Garden deserves a process that is legally sound, ethically beyond reproach, and fiscally responsible, let us move forward with a vision that protects our community's future through a transparent leadership rather than a reactive strategy.
Thank you, Mike.
May I make a comment?
The board, oh, yes, go ahead.
First of all, there are no litigants involved in solar right now. Secondly, the idea of the municipality is what's going to be reviewed, and we've been doing this for a year. Thirdly, this is not a township pursuit. This is a pursuit of the inhabitants to pursue that. And there is already a growing group of people interested in this idea. We are not here to harm anyone. We are here to help preserve this area. We are doing this as a volunteer effort. And I think it's interesting, some of the people who've been most opposed to this have done nothing to stop earthrise. They've done nothing. There's no sign, there's no letters from most of the people who have opposed this. This committee, our watershed committee, is already deep into these issues. We will present them to the planning commission and the trustees for their review, and that is the process that I think is most effective. By the time you get your committees ready and you go through your workshops, this matter will already be too far ahead. The goal is to stop earthrise. That is the challenge we have this month. On the 16th, the data center goes in. On the 18th, the Crete earthrise goes before the county, and on the 30th, the earthrise for us goes through. There will be no county hearings. So the issue before us is litigation. That will be dealing with an issue of the laws themselves. That does not preclude the inhabitants from having a committee of residents to pursue this. We're bringing this to this board and to the Plan Commission, and that's our pursuit, is to help this community.
Mr. Supervisor, I just want to commend Mr. Becker's volunteerism.
Thank you.
I don't attack Mr. Becker personally, nor his volunteerism, but I don't think there's anybody in the room that can say he's impartial.
Yes.
And I don't think that we, as residents, I'm not supporting solar, I'm against solar, but still, we deserve impartiality, not speed.
Right, and Mike, we appreciate that, we heard that the first time, that's great, and we're all in agreement with that, we want it to be impartial. Please remember that this is the start of the process. We're starting with the watershed committee, and then, as Mr. Becker said, he presented to the Plan Commission, and then it would go before the trustees, and then we would then bring residents involved. This is just the beginning of it. Now, in saying that, board, back to the board real quick, we've already are going to, we already voted on the first resolution pending our township attorney look at it. Mr. Flanagan brought up many legal turns and twists to this. I think it would be wise if we did the same with this resolution, since we're giving this to our attorney already. And I would let our township attorney know the immediate nature of this, because we want to present this at the county level on March 30th. You guys okay with that?
Yeah, I'll amend my, did I make this motion?
I don't think there's no motion yet. There's no motion, so I'm just suggesting that we treat this the same way as the other one. We can approve it pending our attorney's review.
Dave, point of order.
So do we?
Can an attorney amend a resolution once it's voted on?
No.
We'll ask her. We would end up amending it based on, because, yeah, we'd end up calling a special public meeting, and we'll let the public know about it. Okay, so, any other comment from the public regarding this?
Did you have your hand up?
Well, I would just like to make everyone aware that we're having a...
Wait, you have to come to the mic and
Sure.
tell us
Well,
your name.
excuse me, Harry, is this regarding this motion?
Not this specific.
Okay, if you could just hold that for the end, we should have public comment later. I know that you want to talk about US Solar, but this is specific to this motion.
Understood.
So if there's no other discussion, I would ask for a motion to approve resolution 2026-007 to pursue additional information regarding incorporation pending the approval and review of our township attorney. Do we have a motion? Motion by trustee Ralph Dietz. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by trustee Wes Shepherd. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Dietz?
Yes.
Trustee Shepherd?
Yes.
Trustee Olszewski?
Yes.
Supervisor Christopoulos?
Yes. Motion as stated is carried. Thank you very much. In case people leave, we're going to just finish up here. If you have to leave, please keep in mind March 30th and 31st. Belinda, quick question. You've been working hard on that postcard. Do you have the postcard ready to go with the date on there that we can get these out as soon as possible?
I didn't find out the date until tonight.
Yeah, nor did any of us. Yeah, it came today, so. Okay, but we have it pretty much done. We just have to insert the date. So the township will receive a postcard. This postcard is being paid for by the township. It's a township card to let people know what's going on with that hearing. Okay, this leads us to the reports. You could bypass your report if you want, you don't have to. I'd like to hear from the road commissioner, the assessor, collector's report, trustees report, supervisor's report. I do not have a report. Jim.
Mike, okay. February, sorry. February, well, beginning of February, we're trying to figure out if we have enough money for salt, and then at the end of the cycle here, we're seeing if we have, we're gonna sunburn or not, so quite a change in the weather. To have the 3 inches of rain we had in 3 hours. The road district's weather dependent on a lot of their work, so it's just a change. Anyways, the road district employees participated in the first aid CPR class. We had 5 people show up. Mark was one of them. We went over CPR, first aid, and then the use of the AED. So I don't know if you have any thoughts of buying an AED for the township, but there are some people that are certified to do that. I'll probably purchase one for the road district once I get some bids for that, or just at least look up how much they are. They also attended an underground utilities class. Last month we were trying to get some good weather for the streetlights. Thanks, Kevin. Streetlight repair, we focused on that, got most of them done. As we finish up, there's always 1 or 2 that seem to go out. And then we rented a boom mower, went around the township for a week. It's pretty messy, so we've had crews picking up all of the debris that leaves out. If somebody's noticed something that hasn't been picked up, call my office, we can take care of that. Golf view speed limit was changed from 30 to 25. All those signs have been posted. And right now, for me, I'll be working on bid packets for chip and seal work and paving work, and help out the township with insurance updates for the policy review, since Monroe is not able to do that right now. So hopefully I'll get that done. I'm hoping to have that finished up by tomorrow. Sheer Road Bridge construction, that was let February 18th. Deconstruction was a low bid at $1,596,116.16. The high bid was PT Farrow, $2,590,324.66. That was good. I was expecting it to be $1.8 million, so $200,000, a little bit more, less than I was expecting, is a good thing. So we should have the money, we have the money to cover it, but as all construction works, there's always going to be some type of change order or something. So with the grant money that we've received, we're good for $2 million, so that won't affect any of my budgeting for paving and chip and seal this year. Pauling Road was a big project that we're going to talk about in the future. That one fell apart, a half mile east of Shear after the thaw. That's a time where you can really see where the road work is going, how everything's pulled together, and that's looking really good. So they'll be ready for hard service in the summer. Let's see. That is all I have. So
Thank you very much, Jim. Thanks for all the work that you do for the road.
All right, for the collector, sorry I missed last meeting. I was in Ireland for the passing of my mother-in-law with a funeral, so I missed last meeting. I did come up in the last meeting about Union Cemetery, so I have been in some brief discussions with the supervisor about that. Hopefully we can keep those up in the following month, so we can come to some sort of resolution on that. As for Union Cemetery, I did notice that the flagpole had fallen. I don't know where the flag went. The flag is gone. I presume the Friends of Union Cemetery Association have.
Joshua has it.
Got that?
Joshua, okay.
I did go over, I took the flagpole, put it off to the side. I did do a survey though of the Union Cemetery. Currently there are 25 headstones that have already fallen and are in disrepair, and there are another 17 that are at risk of falling in the near future. So that's about 40% of the graves in there are in need of repair. So hopefully we can come to some sort of a resolution in the coming month, so that next month we can move forward with, you know, Union Cemetery. That's my.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much.
Due to the late hour, I'll bypass my statistics, we'll save it for another time. I do have a quick question though, how are we sending out the postcards and to what, addresses, or how did we do that?
We have a list that was provided by Mark, when he used it, correct, Mark, for the planning commission.
It came from the county.
Yeah, it came from the county, yeah.
Okay,
What
but
Mark
that was
provided
not-
to us,
We'll get it updated.
yeah, because there's probably one quarter, we're probably missing the last quarter, so.
Well, wasn't that though, you and I talked about that, wasn't that also included either non-residents or, things like that? I mean, you and I had discussed that, it wasn't just households, correct?
It was unique addresses, from the county.
Yeah, just the homes, James, is all that's gonna get it, one.
So you have less than
car per
1,500
home.
then, right?
Yeah,
I haven't gotten the list yet, I wanna get it.
It should be less than 1,500.
1,330 or something like that.
Okay.
That's about what it is.
Just because you realize that the assessor's office has the most accurate information.
Oh.
Well, we have a
James, we
database.
talk every other day.
Thank you.
All right, I'll be calling you tomorrow. All right, thanks, James. Thanks for all your work that you do. You do a wonderful job as the assessor. Okay, next reports, please, trustees. Anyone have a report? Nobody in the West? Ralph?
Okay, I've been, Mark and I've been in touch with US Solar, and the gentleman is here tonight, Harry Marwell. He's proposing a solar project on Stunkel, just north of Aaronwood. He was looking for a venue. The original one he had was Shorewood, and only a few people came, maybe like 6. So he asked for someplace closer. I offered the town hall, so it's 23rd. I think everybody probably saw it. It's supposed to be in the paper or someplace on the website and everything. And Harry has his 2 minutes coming up, so we'll speak.
Thank you, Ralph. I'll keep my comments brief. I'm sure you guys want to go home. Just want to make sure that
This is public comment time, so you have 2 minutes.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. So yes, we're hosting an open house here 2 weeks from today. Tom, I know we've discussed this. Just want to encourage anyone to come with questions. This is a much smaller project than the Earthrise. It's 40 acres. It's 1,200. It's set back 1,200 feet from Stunkel Road. So just want to encourage anyone with questions to come. My team will be available, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Harry. Thank you.
What time is it?
6 to 9 p.m.
Yes.
Okay.
6 to 9 p.m. here at the town hall on the 23rd.
It's on the website calendar.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of information is now on the website. It's also on the Township Board Facebook page as well. Okay, any other public comment? Yes, buddy?
I got a few for the man over there.
Okay,
Supposedly
let's stay
he's gonna fix
respectful.
80.
As long as we stay respectful, we'll all be good.
Supposedly he's gonna fix 88th Avenue. How? I don't know, because he told me he got no idea how. And if he fixes it like he did Bruns, it needs it again, and he fixed it a couple years ago. And we got a real water problem there. And somebody we all know here has got water in the basement tonight because he had a little malfunction with some sump pumps there. And we both got 2, and the road comes out of that place, and he knows where, and floods the road, floods the ditch. He's acting like he don't know now, you know. And it runs into the ditch, up on the road, in our properties. And if you don't stop that, there's no sense of doing the road because the water's under the road. I mean, you drive on the road, it squirts up in the cracks. And why don't you get an outside contractor and do that like you did all the subdivisions here? I mean, you spend a ton of money on that, and you don't want to spend nothing on that road there. And it's been crap road for how long? You should have money. You saved a bunch of money some years ago not hauling stone anymore. You wanna haul it yourself and save money. So you ought to have plenty of money saved to buy trucks now. Or what you do with it, I don't know.
Okay, thank you, buddy, thank you.
Oh, I ain't done yet. I could be done, but I'll have more.
Well, I encourage you to contact Jim.
But that water thing is a problem out there, and you better get on that. And you won't, I know, because you don't care. Especially when you help people put the water in the ditch.
Order, thank you very much, and so appreciate everybody's patience with the timing of this. Yes, Belinda? Oh, I'm sorry. All right, yes.
I just had two things,
Yes, go right ahead, sorry.
As the FOIA officer, trustees and elected officials, when a FOIA comes in, I need to have copies of, if you have sent out a FOIA, I need to have that copy for files in the office. Also, are we going to get all the budgets that we can review before we approve all the budgets?
Are we gonna get all the
Yes,
line items?
no, I'm missing a budget review. I'm missing the assessor's budget to review.
Oh, yeah, oh, definitely, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Jane is working on that, correct me if I'm wrong, and, we've been discussing it, so yeah, we're gonna be looking at the budget for the next fiscal year. Oh, sorry, I thought I had that off. We're gonna look at the budget starting next month. The plan is that we will vote as a board at the May meeting for the fiscal year, which starts April 1st. The reason for that is because we'll have the exact number of the levy awarded to us by the county by, I think, April 8th or somewhere like that. And we'll have all March expenses, we'll have all hard numbers so that we can make an intelligent decision regarding our budget. And the assessor's budget will, oh yeah, we'll all get counted.
No copies of the FOIA, that is outstanding right now.
Okay,
From the
Yeah.
assessor's office, okay.
all right. Yep, for sure.
It would help if a FOIA officer, if a commercial request comes in though, that you would help me with that as I requested.
You didn't
Yes,
answer
I did.
how I answered your question.
All right, thank you, yeah, we'll do that. Any other public comment? If not, I thank everybody again on behalf of the board and all the residents here working together on some key topics. And this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you. Oh, motion, I forgot the motion. Motion by Wes Shepherd, second by Belinda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Meeting adjourned.
Hey, don't you touch me! Don't you ever touch me! Don't never touch me! Why don't we drive out someday in the road and I'll show you where it's from. We drain half the property out the front, and you know who it is.
You can help me out
I always have a good
Oh, no, it's an asshole. Yes, I know, great. You know, we all are on what it is and the different things.
Okay, we'll wait.
People said your chickens are going to be taken away when we were writing something. And then